guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you guys have never been to my channel before, my name is Frida and welcome. In today's video, I will be doing an eyeshadow palette collection and declutter video. So basically, if you guys saw my last video, I did a whole makeup collection, vanity tour, all of that good stuff. And in that video, you guys will see how many eyeshadow palettes I have. My drawer literally could not, like, you could not put one little palette more in there. I mean, it was like full to the brim. These are all the eyeshadow palettes that I have, and they all fit in one drawer perfectly organized, but it is about time that I try and just declutter it. I think I counted like 47 eyeshadow palettes, and that doesn't include my eyeshadow singles or my glitter toppers, anything like that. This is literally just my eyeshadow palette. So I just have a little too much, and I really just need to go through them. There's a lot in there that I have had since I was like in high school, since I was first starting out in makeup, like things that I never even touch or look at or know that I have. So I definitely just want to go through them, show you guys what I have, and as I'm going through them, showing you what is in that drawer or all of these right here, I just want to kind of declutter and get rid of some. I'm not sure if I'm going to give them away to friends. Some of them are like really just dirty and so used up and they just really can't be used anymore, so I'll definitely be tossing those. But some of the ones that I definitely don't touch and haven't been touched really that often, I'll definitely either give away or donate. So the ones that I really haven't touched or worked with definitely will not be going in the garbage can, so don't worry about that. I don't ever throw my makeup away unless it really needs to be thrown away, or it's like lipstick where it really can be like super sanitary to give away. So yeah, these are my eyeshadow palettes right here. And if you guys are interested on just going through them with me, seeing what I have, seeing what I'm tossing, seeing what I don't touch, then let's just go ahead and jump into the video. And while you guys are watching, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below if you haven't already, and join the Frida family. And let's just go ahead and jump into the video. So I just put the eyeshadow palettes into like 4 big piles. I don't have anything like specific, like drugstore on one side, small ones on one side. It's literally just a mixture of all of them. So I'm just going to pick one pile and then just keep going down the line. So the first palette is this Dose of Colors. It was the Katie and Desi collection. I actually don't even think I've used these. I just wanted A, to support the collaboration, but B, I really liked the colors. And it just looks like that. It's a quad that just has these 4 shimmer shades right here, and they are so beautiful. I just haven't really dove into them, and I really don't know why. So I'm definitely keeping this one. It is such beautiful packaging, and I love Desi and Katie, and Dose of Colors is also one of my favorite brands. So that is why I'm keeping this one. I haven't even touched it, and I'm really upset that I haven't touched that. So I'm gonna leave that in a specific drawer that says you need to get into this. So keeping this one. Next palette is this Urban Decay Backtalk palette, and it just opens up like this. I just recently did a tutorial because I just got this in PR. Urban Decay was nice enough to send it to me, and I really do like this eyeshadow palette. I wish there was a little bit more variety of like lighter and darker shades, just because I don't feel like you can make a full complete look of like a smoky eye. This is the darkest shade that you can get in a matte, so I wish there was a darker plum or a darker brown that I could work with. But overall, I really do like some of the shades in here. These little shimmer shades down here are really pretty. This one wasn't really that pigmented, which was disappointing, but the Attitude color was. And then I really did like the blushes and the highlight inside of this palette, so I definitely will be keeping this just to experiment some more. And I really like the mirror that comes inside of this palette too, because it's just magnetic. It comes in and out. I really like the packaging, so I definitely want to experiment with this more before I actually decide whether I want to keep it or not. So yeah, that was the Urban Decay Backtalk palette, just recently released, so way too soon to try and give it away or get rid of it. This next one is this Wet n Wild Walking on Eggshells little trio, well, not trio, but it's now a quad palette. It used to be a trio. It just has this transition brown matte shade. It has like a shimmery white shade, and then it has like a shimmery pink champagne shade, and then a shimmery brown shade. So that is what that little palette looks like. And I think this palette was like $3.99 or something at the drugstore. And I think it's just a really good like everyday palette. So if you're going to quickly just need like a smoky eye and you want to do the same exact smoky eye every single day, you don't want to experiment, this is a really good palette. I really like the shimmers inside of it. I really like the matte inside of it. So I think it's just a really good, like, I just need a smoky eye. Let me just grab this real quick. It's really good for traveling too. So I wanted to keep that super expensive, very cheap, not very expensive. So I definitely recommend this if you guys are looking for something just to like grab on the go. This is one of my favorites. So I love that one. The next one is this Urban Decay Naked Petite Heat palette. They just sent this over. They sent me another one too, so I was really confused because they sent me two of them two separate times. I don't know if they got it mixed up, but I'm definitely going to give the other one away just because I obviously don't need two eyeshadow palettes of the same thing. It's basically their heat palette but in a smaller version. So it has a mirror right here, and then it has these 6 shades right here, which I think are very good essential shades to have inside of a palette. These are all mattes, which I really actually love this palette just because it's like they're really good at matte shades and they're really blendable. So I definitely want to keep this one right here. I haven't had it for a very long time, so again, I want to experiment more with this before I actually like decide what to do with it, but I think I'm definitely going to keep this one for a while. This next eyeshadow palette is a Zulu by Dubious Place, and it is very colorful, and I absolutely love Dubious Place eyeshadow palettes. They are my absolute favorite colorful shades. If you guys need anything colorful or just need like just one colorful eyeshadow palette, I definitely recommend going to Dubious Place because they have some amazing shades. The blendability is amazing. The pigmentation, like, let me just, like, so freaking beautiful. I absolutely love this palette. I love all of my Dubious Place palettes. They're not expensive either, so I definitely would recommend getting some of the Dubious Place ones, and in that case, I definitely will not be getting rid of any of my Dubious Place ones, so you can just eliminate those from the palette, from the palette collection. So yeah, not getting rid of this one, sorry. So this next palette is the Nyx Avant Pop Palette, and this is obviously a drugstore palette. It is a really pretty palette, and the shades in here are really pigmented and really gorgeous. I really liked this one when I did use it. I definitely think I'm getting rid of it just because I think I have almost every single one of these, or if not all of these, in my eyeshadow palette collection already. So I think because I don't really reach for this one anymore, I haven't in a couple months. It used to be like my go-to drugstore eyeshadow palette, and I did a lot of looks with this like on my channel, but I just haven't touched it in such a long time, and I don't really reach for these shades because I do have them in other palettes. So I think I'm just going to pass this one along. I just don't use it anymore. So I'm definitely getting rid of this one and putting that on this side of the little table that I have. This next palette is this Lorac Unzipped Ocean Sunset palette, and it's really cool. It like, I don't know, like the cardboard bends on it, which was really cool. I wish there was a mirror that went with this palette, but overall, I really actually like Lorac eyeshadows. I know a lot of people don't like them because they're super dusty, but I really like how blendable they are. They're really pigmented. I did a really cool look with this eyeshadow palette specifically, so I definitely want to keep this one. This saltwater color is insane. It is so beautiful. It's like just like a really pretty like ocean light blue color type of, it's just beautiful. It's literally the color saltwater. So I absolutely love this eyeshadow palette. I haven't really experimented a whole bunch with it, so I definitely want to keep it so I can experiment more, but I really like the color Horizon right here, as you guys can tell. And then the color Sundown is really pretty, Bedrock is really pretty, Mother of Pearl is really pretty. That saltwater just gets me every time I see this eyeshadow palette, so I'm definitely keeping that one just because I really like Lorac eyeshadows. Some people don't, and that's okay, but I'm one of those people that do like Lorac eyeshadow palettes, so I'm keeping this one. All right, the next eyeshadow palette is this Makeup Revolution Soph X eyeshadow palette, and if you guys saw a tutorial that I did on this one, I loved how the eye look turned out. It was so good. I absolutely love this eyeshadow palette. I definitely want to keep it just because I do try and do a lot of drugstore looks on my channel, and I think with this one I can get a lot of looks out of it. I mean, seriously, look at all the different shades inside of this. If this palette doesn't scream inspiration, I don't know what does, because I mean, there's like reds, oranges, blues, greens, purples, like whites. I mean, everything that you could want is in this eyeshadow palette. I mean, this golden shade is really pretty. Like, I just want to show you guys how beautifully pigmented all of these shades are. I mean, they're gorgeous. And for that to be a drugstore eyeshadow palette is definitely amazing. So I definitely want to keep this just to show you guys, like, you can do amazing looks with drugstore items. So yeah, I'm keeping that one because I really just want to experiment more with it and just do a bunch of more looks for you guys. So yeah, keeping that one in my collection. This next one is the BH Cosmetics Carli Bybel eyeshadow palette. This was the first one that she came out with, And I loved this eyeshadow palette until I saw the second one that she came out with, which I also have. So I will not be keeping this eyeshadow palette just because I already have the ultra one, like the bigger one that has more shades, and the other shades that are in that palette actually kind of call to me more than this one. This is just a really good like neutral palette, and the highlighting shades inside of this palette I will say are absolutely amazing. And what I do love is that it's sleek white packaging, so you can easily clean it off. It never gets dirty, and then you have a mirror in it as well. And the shades in here are just neutral. They're really easy to blend out, so I think someone else would enjoy this more than I would, just because I already do have the other one. If I didn't have the other one, I might consider keeping this one. But yeah, the shades in here are beautiful. The highlight shades are insane. So I definitely would recommend keeping this one if you guys don't have the other one. But I'm not going to keep this one today just because I already have the other one. So the next eyeshadow palette is this Urban Decay Heavy Metals palette, and you just open it up like that. I don't want to blind you guys with this mirror, but there's a huge mirror on the inside, and then it has all the shades right there, and they're all just like heavy metal shades, which are amazing. I mean, these are so pigmented. I'm just gonna show you guys a couple of them, and this Glam Rock color, oh, that was insane. Like this color right here was my favorite. And then these are other shades inside of this palette. So it is such a beautiful and pigmented palette. And it doesn't have any mattes in it, so this is just one that I usually grab if I want. Ooh, actually, if you guys were thinking of getting that Mario and KKW palette, this Dive color right here, if you guys already have this palette, this Dive color actually looks almost exactly like the one that they have inside of there, along with like some of these other ones. So that might be something to consider. And then all the other shades inside of that KKW palette are actually really like neutral and basic. So you probably already have those. If you have this palette, definitely look at that color because it looks like the exact same thing. So yep, I don't think I need that KKW palette. But anyways, what I'm saying about this one is I'm definitely keeping it because the shades inside of it are beautiful. I paid a really big amount of money for this one. I think it was like $50. I don't know, it was like $50, so I'm definitely keeping that one. It's just a good palette for whenever you have like an all matte palette and you just need like a pop of color. If you're like, ooh, I really want bright yellow today, or ooh, I really want bright orange, bright purple, bright green, whatever is in this eyeshadow palette. So just a good eyeshadow palette to just like grab when you need something specific. And I totally forgot, I have my whole pile back here as well, so I have 5 piles to go through. Moving right along, the next palette is this Sigma Warm Neutrals palette. And this is what the palette looks like. It's literally just like a neutrals palette. As you guys can tell though, I haven't really dove into this palette. It's just a neutral palette. I feel like I have so many of these, so I haven't really played around with it. Therefore, I think I'm just going to give it away to a friend or donate it. I'm not really sure, but I've literally only touched, I think like 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, like I've touched 4 shades inside of this palette, so I just don't think it's fair for me to keep it in my collection. So I'm going to get rid of this one. It's not a bad palette, like the shades in here are really creamy and blendable, but I have so many of these, so I'm gonna get rid of this one right here. The next one is also a Sigma palette, and this is a Sigma Wildflower collection, and it just looks like this. And you get a blush right here. Let me turn off my heater. Anyways, you get a blush right here, a highlight right here, and then 4 shades right here. Honestly, I don't really reach for this palette anymore. I did like 1 tutorial on the Wildflower collection, and I liked how it turned out, but I don't really use like a darker silver shade right here. If I'm gonna use silver, I definitely use like a lighter, brighter one, like the one that you saw inside of that Urban Decay palette. I really love this peach shade. I love this shade. The highlight is really pigmented as well. It's so beautiful, but I feel like I don't want to keep this just because of the highlight, so I'm going to have to pass it along to someone else, especially after I clean it because it's a little bit dirty. But yeah, I'm definitely going to pass this along just because I have other stuff like this in my collection, and 2 of the eyeshadow shades I won't ever reach for, like this dark purple and this shade, so I don't think it's worth it for me to keep this palette, and therefore I'm giving it away. This next one is so hard to decide. This is a Too Faced Natural Love eyeshadow palette, and I remember the eyeshadow tutorial that I did on this look and the review went not viral, but I definitely had a lot of views on this, and I had a lot of people like ask me if it's really worth it. And at the time I was just really getting into makeup. I didn't have half of this collection. This was like an insane eyeshadow palette purchase for me. I've never really purchased anything like this. But I will say that ever since I stopped using it, I haven't really missed this eyeshadow palette. Majority of this palette I won't use, but I spent so much money on this that it's hard for me to want to give it away. So I'm going to try this one out a couple more times and see if I want to keep it. So I'm just going to keep this back here for now because I don't know if I want to. Moving right along, this is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. You guys already know about this one. I'm obsessed with this palette. I definitely will never get rid of it. It has everything you could ever want inside of this palette. So definitely don't think that I'm going to get rid of this one. I don't think I'll ever get rid of this one. It's just a perfect palette. I use it on like everyone, including my brides, including like prom, everything. I already told you guys I'm not getting rid of any Dubious Place palettes, and this is the Masquerade mini palette. This is the mini, so could you imagine how big like the normal sized is? So yeah, I'm not getting rid of this one. I love this palette. Again, the shimmer shades are just unbelievable, so I'm keeping this palette right there. This is a Violet Voss x Laura-Leigh palette. I absolutely love Laura-Leigh. She's like one of my favorite YouTubers to watch, and I love supporting other YouTubers in general. So this palette just looks like that. It's a good neutral palette with some pops of color right there. And this is one of the first eyeshadow palettes that I did have in my collection. I didn't have a huge collection like 2 years ago just because I don't know. I wasn't doing YouTube like 3 years ago, like as a full-time thing, so I didn't really collect anything, but I definitely think I'm keeping this one just because I want to support her, and I love the shades inside of here. Violet Voss makes some of the best eyeshadows, so I definitely want to keep this one. I'm going to try and use it a little bit more. This was the BH Cosmetics Carli Bybel Deluxe Edition, so this was the bigger one that I told you guys about. And as you can tell, these shadows are well loved. I've used this a whole bunch. I absolutely love the packaging. This is like a marble up here with a big mirror as well. So I think this eyeshadow palette is great. The highlighters inside of here are amazing. So I definitely will not be getting rid of this one. God, I feel like I'm not getting rid of anything, but we have 4 so far. Okay, this is the Matte Coastal Scents Revealed palette, and this is what this looks like. I've only done one tutorial with this, and that's because they asked me to do it, and this is like, I only use like 4 shades inside of this palette. It's a beautiful neutral palette, and I definitely think it's like similar, if not a dupe to the Urban Decay palettes, but I obviously don't ever touch this. I don't ever use it, so I'm going to get rid of it. I love the shades inside of there. They're neutrals, but I definitely have a lot of neutrals in my collection already. The next one is this Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette. This just has all shimmers inside of it, and it looks like that. I bought it specifically for this one right here. I think this whole palette is like $6, so it's not crazy to buy it just for that shade. But I've heard Nicole Cutler talking about this palette a whole bunch, so I had to get it, and I really do like it. Especially that blue shade. It's just like, it's just a shade that calls to everyone, and the rest of these shimmers are pretty good too. I haven't really gone into any other ones, but I really want to use that green shade too because it looks really pretty. So I'm going to keep this one just because like it's cheap. Why not keep it? Why not have it? You know, I really like it. These next ones are the Milani Most Loved Mattes and the Milani Bold Obsessions. These are my, I love these. These are probably my favorite drugstore palettes in the entire drugstore community because they're amazing. They're really, really good eyeshadow palettes. If you guys haven't tried these out and you have been thinking about trying out like Stila palettes or anything like that, this is like a dupe to the Stila one, a dupe to the Tartlet and Bloom palettes. These are amazing, amazing palettes. They have a really good mirror inside of them. Their blendability is amazing. They're so pigmented. I did a tutorial on them, on these palettes as well, and it was just so beautiful. I got so many compliments on it. Every time I wear these, I get so many compliments, so I definitely am keeping these. And they were like 20 bucks a piece, so I think they were actually $15 a piece at Walmart, $20 online on Milani. Don't understand that, whatever. But yeah, I'm definitely keeping those. That's a hefty penny for the dollar store, not the dollar store, hefty penny for the drugstore. But yeah, I'm definitely keeping those. They're really, these next ones are the Milani Most Loved Mattes and the Milani Bold Obsessions. These are my, I love these. These are probably my favorite drugstore palettes in the entire drugstore community because they're they're amazing. They're really, really good eyeshadow palettes. If you guys haven't tried these out and you have been thinking about trying out like Stila palettes or anything like that, this is like a dupe to the Stila one, a dupe to the Tartlet and Bloom palettes. These are amazing, amazing palettes. They have a really good mirror inside of them. Their blendability is amazing. They're so pigmented. I did a tutorial on them, on these palettes as well, and it was just so beautiful. I got so many compliments on it. Every time I wear these, I get so many compliments, so I definitely am keeping these. And they were like 20 bucks a piece, so I think they were actually $15 a piece at Walmart, $20 online on Milani. Don't understand that, whatever. But yeah, I'm definitely keeping those. That's a hefty penny for the dollar store, not the dollar store, hefty penny for the drugstore. But yeah, I'm definitely keeping those. They're really good. Now, this is the Lorac Malibu Free Spirit palette. I love this palette because it's just a really good neutral palette. I really wish, though, that they would have replaced this one with a matte dark brown shade instead of a shimmer dark brown shade. But this reminds me a lot, actually. Actually, this is like a dupe. This Wet n Wild one and this one are basically, they actually are dupes. Now that I'm going through this, see, this is why I'm going through this, because you realize how many eyeshadows you have and how much you don't need a whole palette. I really just don't want to get rid of this one. Do I get rid of this one or do I get rid of this one? I just bought this one though. I literally just bought this one the other day. Ugh. Man, wow, that is hard. I mean, they are like dupes, like absolute dupes. I'm really, really upset at this. Yep, I think I'm just gonna keep both. I'm really bad at this. I'm really bad at this, but I'm just gonna keep both. This palette was like 30 bucks, so I definitely want to keep that. But the Wet n Wild one is just good for like a dupe video or really good for a drugstore video. So I think I'm just gonna keep it, whatever. This next one is this ColourPop My Little Pony collection, and it just looks like that. It's really, really pretty. I love all my ColourPop eyeshadow palettes. I also have the, which one's this one? This is the Yes Please palette, and it just looks like this. I think this is one of their best sellers, and I know why, because ColourPop makes some of the most amazing eyeshadows. Especially, I love this Dream Street palette. I haven't put this thing down since I bought it, so I'm going to go ahead and keep all of these right here just because they're like recent purchases, except the My Little Pony one. That's pretty, I don't know, but I really like the shades inside of here. This actually reminds me a lot of this Lorac Ocean Sunset one. Wow, I'm getting really upset knowing that I have so many dupes inside of my, yeah, this is so similar to each other, especially that blue shade, that ice blue shade that I really like is inside of here, along with the orange shade. Wow. Yep, that's really disappointing, but I just don't want to get rid of this one because it's so expensive. I spent so much money. I think this was like $42, and then this one was, what, like 15? So I'll put this Lorac one in the pile of things that I should play with and decide if I want to keep. So I'm going to put that in this Natural Love. Although I think I'm going to keep it just because it's expensive, but I'm just going to keep it there and play with those. The next eyeshadow palette is this Tarte Clay Play palette, and it just looks like that. I know they came out with a Clay Play palette too, but I didn't really care for that one. I think this one is just better. The other one had like some sketchy stuff going on with it, so I don't know. But these are all matte shades inside of here, and they are so beautiful. It's just a really good like matte. If you guys do like grungy smoky eyes, if you just need a lot of brown, different smoky colors, like this is just a really good neutral matte eyeshadow palette. I mean, it just has some of the best eyeshadow palettes, and then the bronzers inside of here are so beautiful too. It's hard for me to get rid of some face palettes like with a bunch of bronzers because I do a lot of clients on the side of doing this, so I have to think about the makeup that I'm going to use on my clients as well and not just for me. So like this Timber shade right here, I don't ever use it, but for my darker skin girls, I definitely use that one. And then all of these eyeshadows are just gorgeous. I love them so much. They're some of the best blending eyeshadows in the world. So I am definitely going to keep this one. The next palette is the Magic palette by Juvia's Place. And again, not getting rid of any Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes because I do love them so much. And I just recently got this one, but oh my God, like this color right here is so freaking stunning. I I'm just obsessed with these colors, so I'm definitely keeping this one because it's Juvia's place, and I just need to. This next one isn't really an eyeshadow palette. It's just like a single, it's like a Z palette, and I just keep all my eyeshadows inside of there. These are just the single shadows that I have. I don't really have that many. I want to create like more of a palette that is like my staple collection. So I'm just slowly adding to this, and then the mirror inside of here is really, really big, and it's really good. So if you guys are looking for a good Z palette, this is like, I think this Z palette was like $15, so it wasn't expensive at all for a Tarte Z palette. And like, you can fit a good amount of shade. Fit 25 eyeshadows inside of here, and I think that's really, really good. So I'm keeping that one right there. I'm gonna go ahead and save the trouble, but all of my eyeshadow palettes from Anastasia, this whole collection, I have the Prism, Subculture, Modern Renaissance, the Makeup by Mario Master palette, and then I have the Soft Glam. So I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm gonna keep all of these. I love Anastasia. Even the Subculture I don't really use, but there's some shades inside of there that I really like. I just have had a hard time trying to blend these out, and I'm just one of those people that just haven't been able to make it work. But there are some shades inside of that palette that I really, really do like, and it's just a collector's type of thing for me. I collect all Anastasia things because I just love Anastasia. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that Subculture one and just put these back here because I know I'm going to keep them. These next two I know I'm going to get rid of. This is the Lorac Pro Palette, and I'm getting rid of it because the mirror is shattered and there isn't really much inside of this palette at all. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. I really did love this eyeshadow palette, as you guys can tell. This was definitely one of the first ones that I got in cosmetology school. My friend Carli, she loved this eyeshadow palette, so it was like my first big investment with makeup. She's the one that really got me like into buying high-end makeup. So yeah, this was one of my first ones. It's just a sweet, sweet throwback for me. But like I was saying, I got rid of that Lorac Eyeshadow Pro Palette, and this is the Naked 2 Urban Decay palette. This was also one of my first palettes. I think it was everybody's first palette, but it is just such a throwback to me, and I hate to throw it away just because like, but like seriously, I've used up that one, I've used up that one, I've used up that one, I've almost used up that one. I mean, these are just so hard to dig into when you've already used them, so I definitely want to get rid of this one just because I've also, they sent me the Naked 1, which was so sweet of them, and it was just such a throwback, and it was so sweet. So yeah, I'm just gonna get rid of this one just because they already sent me the Naked 1, and I feel like those are so similar, so I'm just going to get rid of that one, use my Naked 1 palette. This one only has a couple of single shadows, and these are all Buxom single shadows. This is like the Buxom This is a case for all of the single shadows that I have, and they're actually really, really good single shadows. Like, there's nothing really that's wrong with them. But I just don't know if I'm going to keep this just because I already have so many eyeshadows that are exactly the same as this one, except this purple one. This purple one's really pretty, but yeah, I think, and I've used the crap out of this shimmer shade right here. So yeah, I think I'm going to get rid of this Buxom palette right here. This next one is an e.l.f. palette, and this is the Nude Rose Gold palette, and it was good. It just wasn't one of my favorite ones from the drugstore, and I feel like I definitely have better options from the drugstore. This reminds me a lot of the shades that I have inside of the, gosh, what is it? The BH Cosmetics and Carli Bybel palette, like the mauve shades inside of there. So I definitely don't think that I'm going to keep, look at me trying to get naked in the middle of my video. But yeah, I definitely don't think I'm going to keep this one just because I have so many drugstore ones that are like this. So I'm going to get rid of that one. Same thing with this Wet n Wild. This is their natural palette. I wasn't really impressed with this one. I like their other Wet n Wild stuff, but I definitely don't think that I'm going to keep this one just because it's just, I wasn't really impressed by it. I didn't really like it. It wasn't that great. So I don't know. I think I tried filming a tutorial with it, and I might have done a tutorial with it, but it's just a neutral palette, and I have that Naked palette that's, you know, brand new down there. So I'm just going to get rid of this one. The next eyeshadow palette is this Maybelline Total Temptation, and I actually really did enjoy this eyeshadow palette. I think this was a really, really good and really pigmented palette for like what you get. But I do think that the shades inside of here are just a little bit too flaky for me. So I don't really see myself reaching for this palette too much. If I don't see myself reaching for a palette too much, I'm just going to toss it out just because I mean, it is drugstore. I didn't spend that much money on it, so it doesn't hurt me to throw this out or give it away. I think I'll probably give it away because I think I've only used it like 3 times, but it was a good palette and I did like it, but I think just because I have so many other options to choose from, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this one. Next eyeshadow palette I did spend a lot of money on because it's a MAC palette, and for some reason they just have, I still have this. Yeah, but MAC palettes are just really expensive. I feel like their eyeshadows in general are really expensive. And I loved the shades inside of here, and I was so excited, especially for these 2 shimmer shades, like beautiful. And then this shade right here is just, I think it's like a shimmery white shade. And then the matte shades too. But I was really, really disappointed in the quality of this eyeshadow palette. I feel like it wasn't all that great. I'm going to give it more of a try because it was so expensive. So I'm definitely going to put it in the pile of things that I want to try before I get rid of them. This next eyeshadow palette is this Laura-Leigh Los Angeles Cat's Pajamas palette, and I love Laura-Leigh, as I told you before, so I had to buy this eyeshadow palette from her just to support her, and these were the shades. Yeah, I just really, really like these shades, and they're really, really pigmented, really easy to blend out, so I definitely want to keep this one. I haven't dove into it a whole bunch, but I really, really love this eyeshadow palette, so I want to use it more. And the packaging of it, it's really pretty too. So yeah, I'm definitely keeping this one. Spent a good amount of money on it too. This next palette is the Urban Decay Vice palette. Now, these are pretty collector's items. I know some people buy a lot of the Vice palettes, and they haven't came out with a new one in a long time. But when I did have this one, I used it quite a bit, especially this white shade right here and some of the shimmer shades. But to me, I just feel like I don't really reach for this one anymore. I have a lot more eyeshadow palettes that I like more. These shades are very big repeat shades, except for this dragon one. This dragon one's really different, but yeah, I mean, I just don't really touch this palette anymore. It's not one that I reach for, so I'm either going to clean it up and see how it looks and maybe give it to someone, or I'll just get rid of it completely. But this has been used and abused, so I'm just going to get rid of that one. This next palette is this Tardis Pro Palette, and I bought it actually on one of those like Mercari things, or like Poshmark type stuff where people like resell them, and you never know when makeup is fake. And I heard a lot of people saying they didn't really like this palette, and I heard a lot of people say they did love this palette, but all the people, all the reviews on that seller's website was like really positive, and everybody said it was a real thing, a real deal. So I just don't know if it's real or not, but to me, every single shade inside of this goes so dark on me, but the shades are so beautiful. So I don't know whether this is real or not. I don't know, but I really like to believe that it's real. If there's a way for you guys to know whether it is or not, please let me know. But yeah, like, and then these shimmer shades weren't really impressive to me. Like, they weren't really all that pigmented, but these matte shades, I look at this palette and I'm like obsessed. Like, there's pinks and purples and plums, and it's just beautiful, but it's like they go so dark on me. But yeah, so this, I don't know if it's fake. I don't know if it's real. If it's real, I know that I only spent like $30 on it. So, I mean, it's still $30, but like, I don't know. It's just so hard. Like, these shades feel like they would be Tarte shades. Like, they feel like exactly like the other matte shades that I have from Tarte. So I might try this palette again. I'm gonna put it in the palette pile of like things that I'm trying again. Put it over there. But yeah, this next one is this Coastal Scents 252 Ultimate Eyeshadow Palette. I mean, there is 252 shades inside of here, girl. If you need 200, I think everybody when they first started their makeup collection bought this. Like, Coastal Scents was my shit when I started buying makeup, because I'm like, ooh, I got all this makeup, I got cool eyeshadow. I mean, you have like every color that you could ever want inside of here. So I don't know if Coastal Scents is even like a thing anymore. I think BH Cosmetics kind of took over, but like, I mean, there's so much inside of here, but I obviously don't use this, and I think all of these shades I could kind of use and like pick from my other palettes, like the Dubious Place one, so I'd rather just not keep this one. I think it was only like 20 bucks or something for all of these anyways, so it was super cheap, and most of them are broken in here too, so I definitely think I'm just going to get rid of this one. I'm definitely just going to get rid of this one just because, like, I don't know. And then some of these shadows just seem super flaky, so I'm going to get rid of this one. So I have 12 eyeshadow palettes that I am for sure getting rid of, and then I have 4 potentially that I will get rid of that I'm going to try out and see if I want to get rid of them first. Sorry if you hear my dog barking. Christian's outside the door, so I'm going to go let him in right now after I'm done filming. So yeah. That was it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed my eyeshadow palette collection and my, he's standing right there. I hope you guys enjoyed my declutter, eyeshadow palette, all that good stuff. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!